Happy New Year, everyone. It is February of 2023 already, which means we've already gotten past a month of, or almost 10% of the year is through, which is pretty wild. So in terms of market updates, what's happening in real estate in Edmonton and surrounding, as expected, our sales are down from last year because we just can't compete with COVID numbers. Total residential sales were at 986. Which is down 26% from 2022, but it's still actually up from the years prior to COVID, so pre-2020. A decent number, that what we would consider a decent number for a January, December, the slower months of the year, would be if you can get to around 1,000, you're pretty good. What's more important is actually the supply and demand, and so with the active inventory, there's about 5,200 listings, and with, let's say, roughly 1,000 sales, that gives us about 5.2 months of inventory, which means in terms of pricing, everything's actually stable, which is really good. So if we're anywhere between 4 to 6 months, that's considered a balanced market. It's not an advantage to buyer or seller in that matter. So it speaks to balance. What it doesn't show is that in certain property types, there's still quite a bit of a lack of inventory. And so what we're seeing is we're seeing more interest in the luxury space, which is great. We're seeing more interest in the condo space, which is great. And this is more from an in the trenches perspective of what's happening that aren't necessarily translating into sales yet. But what I am expecting to see is I expect to see quite a strong spring. The inventory level is definitely going to come up because sellers are going to start to put their places back on the market. The ones that unsuccessfully sold are the ones that are thinking about selling. People have gotten used to the new interest rates, and everybody seems to have some confidence in our provincial economy, which is fantastic. So, all in all, I suspect that February is going to be a better month than January, and March will be a better month than February, and we're trending in the right direction. And we're also seeing more in migration from out of province, which generally translates first to more rentals, which means the rental market gets stronger, which also means that we attract more investors, and we're seeing that as well. So albeit some of the prices did come down, especially on revenue properties, because of that perception that the market was coming down, and that obviously with higher interest rates, it's harder to cash flow on those properties. However, as we've seen, especially in the last, I would say 2 weeks, we're definitely seeing more confidence and more investors actually pulling the trigger and buying these properties. And so, all in all, I think we're in for a fairly strong market this year. I don't think we're going to set any outstanding records or anything of that sort, but slow and steady is always a great thing to have for both buyer and for seller. So if you have any questions about the market, feel free to, or specifically your micro market where you're at, feel free to reach out, and otherwise we'll see you next month.